seeing him work so hard, and then in the years that it was time for him to stop and enjoy his life with mum, and falling sick early and not being able to do that has kind of like had a big impact, I know, with you, Joe, too, on us, and really informs the decisions I make about health for my longevity. But again, also around setting an example for the kids, because firstly, I want them to have a father who can go to the park and run around and play sports with them.
So I thought it might be cool to and interesting to bring my brother James into the frame here to have a bit of discussion as to what he's doing with things around his health, and maybe a bit of his insights into what I'm doing with respect to the health screen examination, what he thinks about it. But to start with, hey James, how you going?
Hey Joe, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
I know you're a busy man. I took you away from I've just taken him away from I'm sure some heavy lifting on some financial plans that you're creating. But I wanted to sort of first say, in terms of people that I know that enjoy exercise, you are at the top of the list. Most people, including myself, when it comes to exercise, feel like it's a chore, feel like it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about how you feel with respect to exercise.
Yeah, look, I won't say I'm not like anyone else that has days where they don't feel like doing something, like exercise being one of them. But I mean, typically I do enjoy my exercise. It's my outlet. It's kind of cathartic for me. It's the thing that sets my day. It sets the tone for my day, makes me feel like I'm starting the day in a positive light, positive tone. And I also understand the importance of it, particularly with, like a young family, the importance of it from the perspective of, my health, and then allowing me to show up for my family day in, day out. So I think health is a really important part of that. And, around the importance of it from a longer term perspective around longevity. So
now, like, again, like, this is not about pontificating to others, but like, a lot of people will say like it's difficult to find the time to exercise, which it is. Now, you've got 3 kids.
Yeah.
You've got your own business. You're busy beyond belief. And I often worry about you, to be honest. Like, how do you fit in exercise? Could you take us through what a typical day might look like?
Yeah, sure. So I'll typically get up at about 3:45.
PM or AM?
AM. And then I'll go downstairs. Typically the kids are asleep. My eldest sometimes will wake up and he'll go, "Dad, what are you doing?" And I'll say, I'm going to train Julian. And he'll go, "What's the time? It's really early, isn't it?" I'll say, "Yeah, Julian, go back to bed." But typically I'll get up at 3:45. I'll go down, do some of my warm-up exercises. That'll typically go till about 4:05 a.m. in the morning. And then I'll get my stuff ready. I'll head out. Gym opens at 4:30, so I'll be there. I'm usually the first one there.
I think the bakers are the only people that are actually there at the shopping centre where you train at that time.
Yeah, that's right. So I'll get there at 4:30 a.m. And then I'll basically start my strength training. I do 4 days a week of strength training, and then add in 1 to 2 HIIT style cardio sessions a week, just to get my, just for cardiovascular health, but, strength training predominantly. I'll typically finish at about sort of around 5:45. I'll head to the local cafe in Heidelberg, catch up with some friends that I used to train with at Body Fit in Heidelberg, have a quick coffee with them, just catch up on life. And then typically around 6:30, I'll be back home and ready to tackle the day. Kids,
Meal preparation.
Telling them, have they done their chores for the morning? Have they done?
And they haven't.
have they done their bed after they've come downstairs? And I said, I told you yesterday, you haven't done it again. You haven't done it again.
Yeah. So it's like you've had a whole world before you come to work.
Yeah.
You've had a whole experience.
Yeah.
And then I imagine you're trying to sleep early. Now I just got off a recording with Dr. Simon Joosten, obviously, who you know as well, who's a world-renowned sleep specialist.
Yes.
One of the fundamental issues that you have is that there's a kind of a balancing act between having some of that golden time just before you go to bed.
Yes.
And having enough sleep and getting your exercise in. Yep. And the challenge is, that level of sleep versus exercise. Because if you had more sleep, then you might not be able to fit your exercise in. But you've chosen that exercise for its positive benefits. You outweigh maybe the slight loss of sleep for you.
Yeah, look, it's a constant balancing act and a challenge.
Yeah.
I won't lie. It is something that I struggle with. As a starting point, I have two of my kids who struggle with sleep. So there's probably a couple of interruptions during the night.
Yeah.
And there is that balancing act between having time for yourself at the end of the night after we get the kids to bed and actually getting to sleep at an hour where I know that sleep is so vitally important for your health as well. So look, I haven't got the balance right. I've got my Oura ring. I've found that that's been really helpful in the sense that
to tell you that you're not getting enough sleep.
I mean, that's true. It does often.
Or when you compare to your wife's.
Yeah, she sleeps like a baby. Jokes aside, I mean, it does indicate a lot of the time that I haven't had enough sleep. But what it does do is it keeps it front of mind, and it keeps me at least being consciously aware of it, and doing certain things to at least, we often talk about, like, even in our practice with the work that we do and how we help clients, it's not necessarily about perfection, it's about progress. And so it keeps me aware of the fact that I need to be in tune to it and do certain things. Like I know if I've had 1 or 2 days of bad sleep, I really need to make a conscious decision I might not get as much downtime, but I need to get to bed at a certain time and do all the right things beforehand. No phones, so that, I get that quality of sleep and I can
function, really
continue to function how I'd like.
I think there's something to be learned as well from the approach that you take to the way that you exercise. I often will say, I get a little bit of anxiousness before any exercise session because I'm about to put myself through something, whereas you tend to not focus on that too much. And I think there's a bit of a difference in our wiring in the way that we approach things in life generally. I tend to be future focused a little bit more. You tend to be more present focused, and that present focus actually helps you in your exercise, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It does. I think I tend not to think too far in advance. It's more about the moment, and actually in ways with the exercise, there's an element of the sense of pushing yourself through something. I get kind of some sort of a little bit of a kick out of that.
Yeah.
The feeling of, right, now it's time to put myself through something difficult, and the mindset of, like, how much can I push myself through something that seemingly is challenging. Yeah.
So I just wanted to tell the guests, I mean, I probably have some bias, but I also don't need to say this, that, I brought James in not just because he's my brother, but because when it comes to exercising and pushing himself to the nth degree, he's almost not quite human. A lot of people joke at the local Body Fit that he is coming to church. In other words, he just loves it so much, and he has this kind of almost lack of self-preservation, but he actually loves the feeling of pushing himself to the extremes. Now, when I ask you how you get through, say, a minute on the bike of absolutely pushing yourself beyond, because I find it really, really challenging, right? What's your response usually?
It's usually I just, I mean, I suppose I welcome the challenge, and I don't think too far ahead. I think about it like one step at a time.
So how would you do that in a minute block? What would you do mentally?
I'd probably just be thinking, right, first 10 seconds, go as hard as you can. Okay, now
you're not thinking about the second 10 seconds, which you'll be pooped on after the first 10 seconds. I'm in the first 10 seconds.
10 seconds, push as hard as I can. Right, I've got 50 seconds left.
Right.
Next 10 seconds, push myself as hard as I can. And then before I know it, the minute's over.
Well, you know, it's funny that we talk about the exercise in that way, because you actually have the same approach when it comes to your work, right? Sometimes I get myself, I'm looking at the steps and the sequences in creating a complex bit of work, and it makes me procrastinate a little bit on the starting position, whereas you tend to, okay, I'm not looking at the end, I'm just looking at the bit of work that's in front of me, and I'll just plug away at it until I get it done, which is a really interesting thing, that it shows up in your exercise, but it also shows up in the way that you work.
Yeah, I think it's not necessarily about not having a plan. You have a plan.
Yeah.
But when it's time to focus on a particular task or whatever it is that you're doing in that moment, it's really important to be able to consciously block out other things that are going on and just to really focus on that task at hand. And I think that over time, I mean, I would say that everyone's a little bit different in the way they deal with these things and the pressure and all that type of thing. But it's you do with experience, it helps.
Well, I'm an example of how it's quite different, James, but just learning from you and observing you has allowed me to go, okay, oh, I know what I'm doing right now. I'm looking at the next thing before I'm doing the actual thing right now. Don't look at the next thing, just look at the first thing. And that actually does help me. Yep. So just by being around and looking at what you're doing has helped. But, you know, as an example, when you did 𝐷𝐼𝐓'𝐒 is a very kind of popular sort of exercise. What would you call it? Like a showcase.
Oh, it's a fitness / strength race.
Yeah. The fact that you don't have that self-preservation actually sort of shot yourself in the foot a little bit, because if you remember, you went so hard that you actually cramped up, and then you struggled for the rest of the period, right?
Yeah.
Might be to do with a little bit of preparation and just maybe foods and all that sort of stuff. But, you know, there are benefits in having a mindset where you're actually looking forward and trying to kind of manage the now based upon what the future might look like as well. So it's not saying that one approach is better than the other, but it's about being able to understand when to use the right approach, both at work or in health, right?
And to balance them well,
Yeah. So what happens when you don't train? If I told you you're not training for a month, what's going to happen to you?
I think it's going to really it's probably going to impact on my mental health.
Yep.
It's probably going to show up in how I show up for my wife, my kids, in work. I feel that if I'm not training, when I am training, I feel the positive benefits of doing so.
Yeah. It's interesting when I look at you and the way that you approach this kind of this whole thing. I think about that your mental health has never been really an issue, right? You've always been quite mentally healthy, and at least as your brother, that's what I perceive.
Yeah.
But what you're telling me is that a lack of exercise, you feel a difference in your mental health.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I'm thinking then, for most of us outside here, right, looking in, that might not be exercising, it tells you something about how profound exercise can be to your mental health and how you may not be able to even determine that you may be not optimizing your mental health, and you may not be able to determine that it is affecting and impacting all of these areas in your life because you've never really got to the point of having regular exercise in your life.
Yeah. Look, and I mean, everyone's brought up with a different makeup, right? So
yeah, to what extent is the bodybuilding and the sports in our family and all that sort of stuff that we had, how much has that actually impacted?
Oh, it's impacted a great deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it taught us, I mean, I'm extremely grateful for the upbringing that we had around, you know, health and fitness, and seeing dad as a role model. And that's what I want to instill in the kids. And that's why, you know, they might not do the things that I do now, but I think it's important that they see the things that I do.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm their role model, and I need to lead by example. So, but yeah, going back to like, just, you know, everyone's built differently, in terms of even like, you know, some people might be more prone to depression, so that they like doing things like exercising, although difficult. Often the things that are the most difficult to do, the things that actually
completely true
impact the most.
Yeah, completely.
In a positive way. So for someone like that, they might see a significant impact. For someone who's more positive generally in nature, they might not feel that they need necessarily to exercise. But I can say that in my life, and I'm a fairly positive person, so it's not like if I didn't exercise, I'd be morbidly depressed or, you know.
No.
But I can categorically say that when I am exercising, I feel so much better for it. And it shows in the way that I show up. Yeah.
So thinking about dad and the family history with dad's illness and stuff like that, have you had any thoughts about how that impacted you in terms of what choices you make, and also thinking about in reference to your kids and how you show up?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, I mean, we've talked about it. The exercise piece is just fundamentally important.
Yeah.
Around just, I mean, the fact that our father worked so incredibly hard, and due to a you know, cancer, and such a horrible disease that many people would resonate with who've experienced it with their families.
Yeah.
Seeing him work so hard, and then in the years that, you know, it was time for him to stop and enjoy his life with mum, and falling sick early and not being able to do that, has kind of like had a big impact, I know, with you, Joe, too, on us, and really informs the decisions I make about health, for my longevity. But again, also around setting an example for the kids, because firstly, I want them to have a father who can go to the park and run around and play sports with them, so that they can experience that. And also, I want them to incorporate in their lives healthy choices, so that they can live a long and fruitful life.
That's great. And do you see anything that the kids do that is kind of cute that you kind of have been doing as a sort of pattern?
Yeah, I do. I mean, one of the things that they often observe with me is that obviously I'm doing quite a bit of weight training.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to maintain and build muscle, one of the most important things that you can do is keep your protein levels quite high. So they often make comments to me around, oh, you love protein so much. They'll often make comments in the morning, like my daughter in particular. I'll do things in the morning, like I'll have a heap of like cottage cheese. I'll put a bit of honey on it with some banana, and I'll just eat that because it's got a lot of protein. And then my daughter will say to me, I'll have does cottage cheese have a lot of protein? I'll go, yes, Sophia, it does. Cottage cheese is really good for you, and it's got a lot of protein. She's like, I'll have cottage cheese. And actually, my boys less so, but my eldest actually has started now saying to me, Dad, I'm gonna have eggs with you this morning. I'm gonna have eggs in a roll because I know how many eggs should I have if I want to have a lot of protein. So
that's brilliant. I mean, that's already surfacing at the young ages, and they're like 8 and 6.
Yep.
The twins are 6. So that's brilliant. So there's a positive impact, and from being a role model in that respect. How do you feel about the idea of me going and doing the health screen exam? I've talked to you about the reasons why I'm doing it. Do you think I'm crazy?
No, I don't think so. I don't think you're crazy at all. Yeah, we have spoken about it. I'm all for it. I think knowledge is power, right? And it allows you to it informs decision making and helps you maybe. I mean, I know like myself, Joe, you're very in tune with like your health and making sure that you're adjusting things over time to make sure that you stay healthy. And so any information that you can obtain from that process and now enabling you to understand your body and the things that you can put in place to continue to live a long and healthy life is like really important.
And to what extent do you think, because I talk about sometimes this notion where I've been quite strong with my family about certain things that I see as being important for health, but also recognizing that everyone has their own individual timeframes and it will adopt stuff at their own level. And sometimes my own frustration that, within our family sometimes, not terrible, but within our family sometimes, we have like something going on where I'll be like, no, can you please just change that because I don't want you to get sick or whatever.
Yeah.
How have I been on that front? What do you think? What's your perception?
Look, we've all got different approaches in the way that we tackle these things.
That's James being diplomatic, everyone.
Yeah. So I think like you're coming with the right intentions.
Yeah.
Would I say I would do it the same with different people, right? So I'm a bit more sensitive to these things and I'll probably tackle it a little bit.
I'm a bit of a
different.
sledgehammer, yeah.
Yeah. And the reality is we both know that like certain habits that the people obtain over time are hard to break. And so it's really it's not always a simple case of just saying, don't do X. It's more, I think it's often more a case of like education.
Yep.
And then, continual education and
refinement.
Refinement and with time, they potentially, their habits can change.
So I ask everybody this in this season, a question without notice. Touch wood, you've got 1,000 years left on this planet, James. But if you have one good year left of health, how would you spend it?
That's pretty easy. I'd spend time with my family, with my kids, experiences. So my family being yourself, mum, my brother Mark, and then my immediate family, my wife Alona and my kids Julie and Jacob and Sophia, and just experiencing life with them. Because I mean, we know that we all say this life's short, but we tend to get caught up in the things that we see as important in the immediate future, and then often we get caught up in that, and we don't look beyond that.
More broadly, yeah.
More broadly,
it's probably what we learnt from Dad as well, right? Through his experience.
Yep. Absolutely.
Well, thanks for coming in, and apologies for taking you from the importance of what you were doing. I know that you're quite busy.
That's all right. I'll now go back to that approach of one task at a time. But no, thanks for having me.
Cool.
If you have resonated in any way with the sentiments of this podcast, we would be delighted to direct you to our website, www.itsneveraboutmoney.com.au, for more free resources and education aimed at improving your capacity to make sound financial decisions for the benefit of your family. We wish you every success, however you define it.